You do not want to miss this. These are two of the greatest fighters of our generation, both four-weight world champions, both daring to be great once again. Terence Crawford is the current number 3 in the pound-for-pound list. Canelo is number 8. Previously, both of them have been pound-for-pound number 1, so this is a massive opportunity to cement their legacy even more. 765 rounds have been boxed between them. Neither man has hit the canvas once. Both have granite chins. Both are unbelievable boxers. This really does have all the hallmarks of an absolute classic. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be one of the best fights of the century. And in a world of shit, pointless exhibitions between has-been fighters who are about as interesting as Sonia from EastEnders, we really do need to make the most of two greats stepping in the ring. Both are arguably past their best, but at the same time, both are still elite fighters. And I think whoever wins, this will not disappoint. I think it'll be a cracking fight, and it'll be a fight you can't take your eyes off. So the Ginger Ninja, Canelo Alvarez, turned professional at 15, and since then it has been a roller coaster ride. 20 years later, and he is still at the top of his game. He is the king of the 168-pound division. He picked up his first belt at super middleweight against Rocky Fielding back in 2018. Jake Paul would have put up a better fight than Rocky that night. Canelo annihilated Fielding, crushing him with a body shot in round 3. We didn't learn much from that, but it is fair to say we have seen the best of Canelo at 168. He's had some great wins at 168 against Callum Smith, who was unbeaten, and Canelo dominated that fight, winning pretty much every round. He pieced up Callum Smith to the head and body, winning easily via a unanimous decision. And for me, one of Canelo's best wins in his entire career came against Billy Joe, a very underrated win. I thought Billy Joe was boxing well that night, but Canelo landed a brutal right uppercut in round 8, which broke Billy Joe Saunders' right eye socket. And at the end of the round, Billy Joe decided not to come out for round 9. Obviously, if I was in his position, I would have 100% fought on with that eye injury, but there we go. Later on, Canelo faced Caleb Plant in a unification yet again, and this was for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. For the first time in Canelo's career, he had the chance to become undisputed at 168. He stopped Caleb inside 11 rounds, another fantastic win. And at that point, Canelo was in the form of his life. He'd only actually lost to Floyd Mayweather at that point. Obviously, that was a fight that was very early on in his career. He was 23 years old and he was weight drained. So he was clearly the pound-for-pound number 1, but then he did step back up to light heavyweight and got beat badly, really, off Dmitry Bivol. He did get a good win against Kovalev at 175, but that was a well past it Kovalev. Bivol was banging his prime, and he boxed Canelo's head off, really. And I think Canelo had a lot of false confidence going into that Bivol fight because he'd knocked out Kovalev, and he'd also had loads of really good wins at super middleweight, so he thought he could step back up to light heavyweight and beat Bivol with no problem, and he was a massive favourite going into that, but Bivol was banging his pomp, and he really didn't have a problem at all with Canelo. Canelo couldn't put a dent in him and couldn't get close to him at all. Bivol was just too big, too good. And then since dropping back down to 168 again after the Bivol loss, he did beat Golovkin in their trilogy, which was an absolute pile of shit because Golovkin was never a super middleweight and also was way too old. He was well past it by then. And then after that, it's been pretty much rinse and repeat for Canelo against John Ryder, Charlo, Munguia, Berlanga. Every single time he dropped his opponent and won on points. But his last outing against William Skull was next level. I mean, that fight made Devin Haney against Jose Ramirez look like the Thriller in Manila. It was shocking. Absolutely horrendous. William Skull was awful. Canelo did nothing. He did win. He won via a unanimous decision again, but this time we didn't even get to see a knockdown. It was an absolute disgrace, that fight, but Canelo did become undisputed yet again. So right now, Canelo is a veteran. He's got a record of 63, 2-2 with 39 wins coming via knockout. And it's been a while since he's been at his best, which is a worry. But there is also a very good chance Canelo's not looked great because of the level of opposition. Because every single time, he has done enough to win. So I really hope we get to see the best of Canelo in this fight. But this fight does have the potential to be a disaster for Canelo because as we saw against Erislandy Lara, who's a slick southpaw, Canelo does really struggle with that style. He struggles to cut off the ring. But at the same time, if he can roll back the years, he should have enough to beat Crawford because Canelo, at 168 in his pomp was an absolute beast. He was hitting hard. He was cutting the ring off well. He was targeting the body. And his power carried late, as we saw against Caleb Plant. And also, there's no rehydration clause, which I think massively helps Canelo. I think if there was a rehydration clause, I think he'd be bang up against it. But the fact that he'll be strong late, I mean, he's going to be a cruiserweight on the night. And Crawford will probably only just be a light heavyweight on the night by the time they rehydrate. So I think if Canelo is 5-1 down after 6 rounds, I wouldn't panic too much, because for me, Canelo's best chance is to try and stop Bud in the second half of the fight when the extra weight really starts to weigh down Crawford, because he won't be able to move as quick as he normally does. But the Omaha man is full of confidence. He currently has a record of 41-0 with 31 wins coming via knockout. He is daring to become a 5-weight world champion. He is the definition of greatness. I do love Bud. He's a cool guy. He's an absolute gangster, and he doesn't know how to lose. And there's just not 1 ounce of fear in Bud. He's super confident. I mean, this is a guy who got shot in the head and then drove himself to hospital, so he's not asked about Canelo. It's a massive ask, but if anyone can do it, he can do it. And I'm so pleased for Crawford that he's getting this opportunity, because he has been crying out for a massive fight. I mean, it's quite sad when he's coming out and he's saying that Ricky Burns and Victor Postel are his elite wins. I mean, that's like Canelo saying that Matthew Hatton and Rocky Fielding are his elite wins. But I honestly don't think that Bud does himself any justice. I mean, surely Spencer's his best win. Was that car crash really that bad? Well, maybe it was. Also got some really good wins against Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Amir Khan. I know these are all guys who were past their best at the time, but that's not Crawford's fault. And Crawford's 37 now. So he's no spring chicken, and in his last fight, he didn't look great against Madrimov, but he did definitely win that. I thought it was 8-4 Bud. It wasn't vintage Crawford, but at the same time, you can't look spectacular every single fight. And the game plan is a simple one for Bud, and that is to box and move. If Golovkin can't put Canelo down in 36 rounds, Bud definitely can't. But what he can do is box rings around anyone he's in the ring with. The problem is, he's got 36 minutes to perfect it, and I'm just not sure he can. Some days I think Crawford's going to pull it off. Some days I think Canelo's going to knock him out. It's a total 50-50 fight. I think if anyone can step up to super middleweight, like Bud is, practically from welterweight, then it's him that can do it. I don't see anyone else being able to do what Bud Crawford's doing and potentially pull it off. But unfortunately for Crawford and myself, size does matter. And I just think Canelo is going to find a way of getting Bud Crawford out of there. It's a really hard task for him, as it is for Bud, like I say. But for me, Canelo Alvarez will stop Crawford late. But I honestly wouldn't rule out any outcome in this, apart from a Crawford stoppage. I think the draw is a fantastic bet at 16-1. We've seen Canelo get gift decisions before. If CJ Ross can score Mayweather-Canelo a draw, then anything is possible. I mean, you just got to look at that first Golovkin fight with Canelo. Golovkin 100% won that, and that was somehow a draw. So there's a good chance even if Crawford wins, he gets shafted on the cards. But I can just see Canelo pulling this off and forcing a stoppage when he's down on the cards. I think it'll be a fantastic fight. There's also a knockout bonus for anyone who wins via knockout. So obviously that only applies to Canelo. But let's see what happens, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Enjoy the boxing next weekend. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all on the next one.